Alright, how's it going, YouTube? Just got a new build. This is a GT-1. This was Nitro. I bought it converted with the mount already, but it still has a Nitro spur gear on there. I'm missing a few things, like I'm missing the brake bracket. I do have the top plate, but I'm missing the brake bracket, a bunch of other stuff, and I can't find it. And so my plan is now just to keep going with converting it to brushless. So I need a motor, I have an ESC, I have a receiver. I might need to mod something because I'm gonna get a battery tray, and I feel that the spur gear up here, I don't know, it's either stuff come from the bottom and hit the battery, or you know, I just don't want no mess about. So I'm gonna get a bracket to cover over here. I'm gonna make one, go from there. Other than that, I'll show you a picture to cover over here. I'm gonna make one, go from there. Other than that, I'll show you a picture of how it came with the tires and everything, and then we'll go from there. I actually used the tires on the Hobio, if you've seen that video. But right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break the car down, take out the mount and stuff, and then go from there, see what we need. Alright, YouTube, so this is the spur gear that was in there. I'm gonna also use this as a spool. So I believe this shaft should be 6 millimeters, and if it is, then I have to shout out to Saga. Saga's probably the only one that I know that makes 6 mil, 8 mil, and 5 mil shafts. So I mean spur gears. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna make sure I'm taking off. Alright, so pull that off. This is the gear. I'm gonna keep this because if I do find the parts, I wouldn't mind turning it back to Nitro. But that should be a 6 mil shaft. So I'm gonna order that spur gear. We need a motor. Go to my local hobby shop. You should probably have a used motor in there. I have an ESC already. It's one of my old Castle ESCs. I used to use this in no prep, but I blew the FET on 2S. But it should run fine as long as I'm not using it censored. It still might run on censored, but we're not using censored anyway. So I need that. I'm gonna make my plate, and then we'll go from there. So stay tuned. All right, YouTube. So we got the spur gear. Shout out to Saga. I went with a 42. These was limited on the site. Hopefully he makes some more, but that fit right up there. So we'll use a 42 6 mil. And then I also stopped by my local hobby shop. I grabbed an Armor BLX. Had it in there for like 40 bucks. I also threw the bullets on there. Unfortunately, you know, the Armor BLX motor wires come short, so I'm gonna have to make some adapters, and I have a bunch of wires here, so we'll figure it out with that. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slap, because the way this is set up, I'm gonna have to put this gear in here. There's no way with all of this here, the way this mount is set up, it's set up like this. So my bolts go here. There's no room for me to get in there. So I have to literally mount everything before I even put it in the chassis. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I'll get back. All right, YouTube, just to show y'all, I set it up. Everything is all set up. So I had it reversed. I had this reverse on the other side. So the spur gear actually came up higher. But I feel that would have put more tension on the motor, the shaft, and probably would have snapped it. So I'm gonna just leave it like that, and I'm gonna just throw this in there. All right, YouTube, so we got everything thrown in. The line's up, everything is working. So I'm gonna put this plate back up here just for support. But as you see how this is wide open, Nitro is okay because the Nitro motor goes here, and there's nothing to, and the tank goes here, so it's really free here, and there's nothing to obstruct. But now I might be putting a battery here, even if this breaks and it hits the battery, that, you know, I don't want none of that. So I have an old T-Max mount that I used. This is to convert the T-Max to brushless. So I plan on putting this plate upside down over here like that. Bam. So I already drilled out my holes, moved them out. I'm only going to line 3 up, and then 1 is going to be there, but it should sit like that and give me some protection. So let me go ahead and mount that up and get back. All right, that's my plate. Might look stupid, but it's for caution, and it actually clears perfect, so it won't obstruct anything. Everything spins freely. So now I just need a battery tray. My plan was to put the ESC right here, run the wires over here, put the battery up here, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to fit a good 4S, or even if I move the battery back there, let's just to say I put a 3S in there, that's gonna be tight. So my plan is, I know center of gravity and all that, but I plan on running this up here. Usually you have a Nitro motor. The Nitro motor head is about up here, so that shouldn't throw it off that bad, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm gonna put this up here. I'm gonna make my extension wires to run up here. I'm gonna throw my receiver in. The battery tray is what I gotta wait on. I don't know if I'm gonna go back with the dirt tires, but I do have some tires to put up here, so let me just throw all that together and then we'll come back and see what's going on. All right, YouTube, this is how it sits. You got a little spin around. All right. I don't think that ESC is too high. Plus, it don't weigh that much, but you never know. So now, just waiting on the battery tray. I will throw a battery up in here just to make sure everything is working. So let's put it. All right, hoping my battery sits like this with the tray. See how this plate blocks it if anything happened. Hopefully I can fit like a 4S. We'll even try it on 6, but we'll see. I had an old receiver for my old car. I lost the top, but it's an M17 receiver. So we'll actually go ahead and see if that works. Let me get ready. All right, YouTube, let's see if everything works. So I put my on and off switch right here. Everything is set. We got steering. The steering servo actually came with the car, so not bad. I do need a top for here to protect the receiver in there. Let's give it throttle. Okay, everything is working. I'm still waiting on the battery tray, so I'm not able to get it out and running. And I also need to go into the ESC because I'm sure it still has a tune in there for a 2S setup. So I'm just going to put it back to, that's what the beeps is for. It's telling me that it's not in censored mode, so it's in censored mode. So I'm going to actually set that up, put it on the computer, put a little, no tune, but just put it back to normal, bashing mode or running mode, and then I actually will try to get the Cobra 5, try to fit it in here, but that's a lot of weight up top. But anyway, it could fit a bigger motor, nice size cam motor. I'm not sure how the diffs would hold up because it's a Nitro, and the power from the brushes probably was tripping. I actually need to go through the dims, putting on the tires. Look at this to show you. It probably don't even have grease in there, and the front is pretty much the same, but you can feel it has something in there. But I want to drive it like this because if it corners good like this, I might just leave it like this, because if I can make it like a street racer or something like that, just an on-road, something like that. But I could also convert it to put dirt tires on it and probably run it off-road. We'll see. But anyway, so the next time you'll see it will be outrunning. I'm not sure if I'll get it in this video, but we will see. So these are my extra, I got to take these off. These are extra cables that I had for when I ran a cat pack. I'm gonna take those off. Battery run there. Everything seems like it would hold up. It also came with a body. Alright, that's how it sits. GT-1. The electric conversion. I really wanted it to be a Nitro, but you gotta work with what you got. So the body was rubbing a little bit, so what I did was I put some tension on the shocks to raise it up. So we'll see how it runs. Suspension feels okay. But anyway, we'll see how it runs. It still has a 3S battery in there. Hopefully the amount that I ordered it fits where I want it to fit. Because right now this is a 3S. It would not be able to sit flat like that. It's sitting like that. So I'm hoping that everything works out. Alright, so y'all stay tuned. And I actually want to get it out for a speed test to see what the gears is doing and how hot the motor is getting. But alright, y'all, let me put it on the computer, wait for the battery tray, and then let's get it out for a quick test. Alright, YouTube, so the battery tray finally came. This is a nice little carbon fiber battery tray. It came with straps, but they were too small, so I put my own straps. And just to show you, I'm going to show you how the 3S sit in there and then the 6S will sit. Alright, that's how it sits. So I did have to hang the battery tray a little bit off the side of the car because it would have fit too close to this. So that's a 3S in there. You know, the body would fit. The wires plug in right here. So everything worked out. And show you a 6S. Alright, YouTube, that's how it sit with a 6S. Everything clear, nothing's touching. Same on the outside. And I figured that it has the wheels, so anything hit the body unless it comes from the side. But we ain't worried about that. Other than that, I like this battery tray though. And it made the car just fit real nice and snug. So let me know what y'all think. Next up is to run it. I am going to take it out for a speed test, not a speed run. And I am going to run it on 3S and 6S, see what it does. See if it holds up. So stay tuned. Finally finished. Let's get it out. That's how it sits without the battery tray.